Hi, good morning, everybody. I haven't had a lot of sleep, so I'm feeling tired and out of sorts this morning. I'm actually feeling very emotional and not particularly centered, and I think, that's another reason why I wanted to do this morning, because often I think I wait until I feel ready to do this, and I don't feel ready to do this at all, but I feel like it's necessary for me to share in an honest way, because we all have our ebbs and flows and we all have our challenges. And there's so much going on in the world generally right now, and you only have to look at your timeline on Facebook to see the amount of stuff that's just being projected and shouted, and it's all a bit crazy, as I noticed again this morning. And maybe that's why I'm feeling how I'm feeling, because I'm picking up on all that shit basically. And there may be something going on with the planets, but last night, the last sort of 24 hours have just been really pushed my buttons, have triggered me in all kinds of ways that I wasn't expecting. This is the thing with triggers, we actually never know when we're going to get triggered. It'll just happen, and it can be something, it could be anything, absolutely anything that anybody says, or something that somebody might do, or something we do, or whatever it might be, and it can just send us into this whole pain trip, pain body. All the old wounds just rise up, and it's like overload. It feels like overload. And so I had so I had this beautiful day yesterday, and then it just triggered me in all kinds of ways, and I just I'm feeling very fragile this morning. And my pain body is really, I can feel it. It's really wanting my attention. It's really calling to me to look. And it's old wounds, been, almost like someone put a stick in and started to agitate the wound. And so I'm feeling really like I'm in my wounding this morning. I'm in my shadow. I'm in that place where most people just don't want to go. We'd rather run away from our pain, our fears, our wounding, our hurt, our sensitivity. We'd much prefer to cover it up with something like, meditate, get rid of it, have some alcohol, suppress it, take something, try and get away from it. You know, all these things that we do to avoid what we're feeling when it's really intense, when it's almost overwhelming. It's really hard to sit with that pain, to sit with that uncomfortableness, to not be fresh. You know, this morning my ideal freshness and being able to share from a place of silence. Yeah, there is some silence, but there's also this real depth of pain that I'm feeling, that is being felt. I'm not even sure it's my pain, you know, it probably isn't my pain. It's the pain that the whole world is tuning into, is feeling, is being brought up to be looked at because of all the stuff that's going on in the world right now. Everything is coming to the surface, and this is, you know, this is the process of awakening. It's not roses 24/7, it's not simple, it's not easy, it can be really challenging. It's destroying literally everything. That we've come to believe about ourselves and the world that we live in. And that includes the way we have relationships, the way we relate to other people, the way we love, what we experience. And it also includes this ability to keep looking into that shadow, into those depths that we don't want to look in because it's so difficult. Because it's raw, you know, it's raw pain. Pain of separation from you know, like the mother wound, the first wound that we experience of separation. And absolutely nothing outside of ourselves. I can't not cry this morning, sorry guys, it's just how it is. Nothing outside of ourselves no matter how much we try and trick ourselves, by the way we look at things, by what we see, you know, we can be really in our power, we can meditate, we can feel empowered, we can experience all these wonderful things. And at the same time, we have to be able to go into the darkness, we have to be able to feel the pain, we have to be able to go into that, you know, because we can't be free of it, we can't rise above it until we're willing to look into it. And so all these avoidance techniques, you know, these things that we can latch onto, I won't generalize, that we can latch onto, that we can use as crutches, including meditation, including yoga, including alcohol, including drugs, whatever it might be, to escape what wants to be felt. You know, the part of us that wants to be heard, that wants to be seen. That inner child that needs to be loved. That needs to know it's safe to be. That needs to know it's safe to be vulnerable. And I notice it myself. On my timeline at the moment, there is so much stuff, so much anger, so much confusion, so many things coming up for people about what's actually going on, particularly with America. But there's, that's just one small part really, that the collective, or the majority of the collective consciousness just seems to have latched onto, and it's feeding off of that, the pain bodies are feeding off that, but in truth there's nothing actually wrong. There's nothing wrong with feeling what we're feeling. There's nothing wrong in going into the pain. There's nothing wrong with allowing your vulnerability out. People would rather we put on these fucking masks. We'd rather be a certain way. We'd rather behave a certain way. Everyone wants to present this perfect idea of who they are, Why can't we just love each other exactly as we are, with our pain, with our fear, with our silence, with our strengths, with our truth? When we walk into a situation, why can't we speak what we want? Why are we afraid to say what we really want to say? Why are we afraid to remove ourselves from a situation, make up some kind of stuff about, what we believe people want to hear? My commitment to this it's not something I can walk away from. It's in every moment, every day. Experience, and it's real. There's purpose in everything that we experience. It's not about shutting off, shutting down and going and being in a cave, as much as we would often rather do that. I know I would. Being open with your heart takes courage. Speaking your truth to others takes courage. It's not always easy at all to keep wearing your heart on your sleeve. I think that's the saying. Keep being vulnerable, to keep saying what you feel. Because there are these fears of rejection, of being unloved, of wounding, of hurt, all that stuff that comes up in all kinds of relationships that we experience. And we are in relationship with everything. Life, the others that show up, divine aspects of the one that show up around us, aspects of ourselves, really. And we can get drawn back into this play. And we kind of have this appearance of choices, you know, there's an appearance of things happening, there's an appearance of all those experiences, and it feels very real. The pain is real. And yet, I know underneath all of this, there is this depth of peace. There is this stillness. And then the waves come, creating ripples on the surface. And those ripples, while they're being experienced, feel real. They are real, in the sense that they are our experience in that moment. And pain is calling us home. It's calling us home to what's real, what's true, what needs to be loved, what needs to be looked at, needs to be investigated. Where are we being triggered? Where are we being nudged, prodded, you know, to make us look what else needs looking at? What else needs our attention? What else needs our love? We have to go into the depths. We have to step in to the muddy waters, to wade in and to feel what's beneath the surface, to be brave, to be courageous, to be willing to look. And at times it feels like a very lonely place, and yet I'm so comfortable in my own company. So it's a paradox. Nothing to hold on to. And we're just falling, free falling. There isn't actually any ground. Just going to read some of your comments. Morning, Christine. Morning, VG. Morning, Owen. Morning, Daniel. Yeah, it's funny, I never actually judge my days as bad or good. I don't tend to get that whole thing about today is a shit day. It doesn't really work like that with me. Just every day is a new experience, and every moment is a new experience, and I'm very aware that I'm feeling this on a very deep level, everything. So I'm becoming more and more sensitive, and sometimes that's a real challenge because I'm just feeling everything, and it can be very intense. It is intense, and at the same time it has to be felt for it to be released. And that's the tricky part, when the pain is so strong, there's so much resistance. We don't want to go into it. And why do we need to put ourselves through that? That's what the mind says. But actually, it's okay. We're safe, we're always safe, we're always being looked after. I did this crazy thing yesterday. Well, actually, I was kind of with someone who helped me to do a crazy thing. I walked through this tunnel. You could see the tunnel, and you could see the opening of the tunnel, and you could see the other end of the tunnel, but it was like a 1/4 of a mile long tunnel. And it was by a canal. And when you started walking into the tunnel, it was light, and you could see the banister, and you could see where your feet were, and you could see where the wall was, because it was in a tunnel, so the walls were like this, you know, and you couldn't really walk straight up because anyway, so you're walking along, and it's very clear that it's going to get very dark, and you're not going to be able to see, and it just kind of happens, you know. You're walking along, you can see really clearly, and then all of a sudden you can't see the railings, you can't see your hand, you can't see your feet, you can't see through the tunnel. And then this moment arises where you have to trust completely that the railings are going to continue, that you're going to know how to put one foot in front of the other, and you can't go back because it won't make any difference at this point. If you go back, it's the same as if you move forward. You're no closer to the light. And so my hand was at first kind of holding on to the rail, like, and moving my hand across the rail, and then somehow, with some encouragement, I closed my eyes, and the tops of my fingers just brushed across the railings, and all my senses became heightened. I couldn't see anything anyway, so with my eyes closed I could see better, because I could feel where the wall was, I could feel where my body was in comparison to where the wall was. I could feel the railings, I could feel the water, I could sense the stillness of the canal. I could hear my feet walking in front of me, with me. I could feel the ground beneath my feet. I could feel the solidity. I could feel the intensity of the sensation of just trusting, just totally trusting in those moments. And you know, I did open my eyes a couple of times, and I could see that there was just so much darkness, and there was this light quite far away, and I realised there was no point in having my eyes open, so I closed them again and keep walking. And then the ground turned to kind of mud, and there was water, and I could feel the water around my boots, and my hand was just, I wasn't holding onto the railing anymore. I've just literally, I'd got the tips of my fingers moving along the railings. And at one point I felt the wall and realised that I was perhaps not standing up straight. I was leaning to one side, and that was my body's wisdom just in that space, knowing my body and my awareness was so vast that I knew where my limits were. I could feel the railings, I could feel where the wall was, and I wasn't actually reaching out to feel them. I was just aware of this space that I was in. And there was a moment, a moment, in the tunnel at some point, whenever it was, and it was like a knowing that no matter what, no matter where I find myself, where I appear to be, whatever the circumstances, we're always totally looked after. We're always completely safe. And we have this incredible, like, sixth sense and awareness that's not limited to our body. Of course we are that anyway, but in a dark tunnel with your eyes shut, just trusting, that becomes so heightened, so apparent. And then this metaphor for life kind of appears in that tunnel is life. You don't know where you're going, you don't know the outcome, you don't know anything, you're just going with your guidance, you're just going with your trust, you're moving forward in trust with no knowledge of anything really. And there was a realization that that's really how it's always been and always is. And then we have these moments of briefly forgetting, getting caught up in stuff and forgetting that that's actually the truth. And there was a reminder in the tunnel that there is only I, there's only one consciousness. There was a reminder that that's it. Morning, Len. Hi Daniel. Have a beautiful day, Daniel. Yes, Virgie. Know you are loved. Beautiful. We are all loved, of course. Easy to forget sometimes. And so, yeah, that was part of my experience yesterday. And I was grateful for that experience of trust. And obviously, I created it. As a reminder to myself, this is what we're doing. And with that creating, as long as we're aware that we're both in this experience and also at the same time not of it, the paradox of the ultimate reality where everything is divine, everything is always divine actually, everything is well, the ultimate reality where nothing's happening, where there's just consciousness, where seemingly nothing's happening. And then this reality where everything's on the move, everything's happening, we're experiencing, we're feeling, it's intense, it can be sublime, joyful, painful, so many different things can be experienced. And that's the beauty of life, isn't it? That we can experience. Life in this body is about experience. But can we be willing to experience and move through those experiences to get to the treasure, to get to the truth, to get through the depths of the mud? You know, to wade in the waters of emotion and mud and the depths that we have within us. Can we be brave and courageous and allow ourselves to go into those dark, dark places? It's necessary. It's necessary for our growth. So I'm just going to read something and then I'll finish. And anybody who's just joining, I've just been sharing for quite a while this morning. Some intense stuff, might not be easy watching. Anyway, this is life. January the 30th. I'm reading from Opening Doors Within. Do you find real joy in the work you are doing and in the life you are living? Do you find real pride in the job not only done well done, but perfectly done? Do you dislike anything that is done shoddily or half-heartedly? Is your heart so much in what you are doing, and are you so conscious of the fact that you are doing everything to me and I'll read that bit again. Is your heart so much in what you are doing, and are you so conscious of the fact that you are doing everything to me and to my honour and glory, that you cannot be satisfied with anything that is not just so? It is as it should be. You should never be satisfied with a job done in a half-hearted, begrudging manner. Do all that has to be done with joy and love, and let it include everything you do, from the most mundane job to those vitally important ones. See that your attitude is right in everything you undertake, so that the right vibrations are put into it. What is more, you will find yourself enjoying it. I'm going to pick one card for all of us today. It's been very intense sharing for me this morning, and not so easy to be so vulnerable. It's easy to write vulnerably. That I don't have an issue with. To sit here in front of this and to show the pain. The card that I've picked is Courage, which I've spoken about a couple of times this morning. So this is a message to all of us this morning. Anybody that might see this, and whenever you might see it, this message is perfect for you. Courage. This card shows a small wildflower that has met the challenge of the rocks and stones in its path to emerge into the light of day. Surrounded by an aura of bright golden light, it exposes the majesty of its tiny self. Unashamed, it is equal to the brightest sun. When we are faced with a very difficult situation, we have a choice. We can either be resentful and try to find somebody or something to blame for the hardships, or we can face the challenge and grow. The flower shows us the way, as its passion for life leads it out of the darkness and into the light. There is no point fighting against the challenges of life, or trying to avoid or deny them. They are there, and if the seed is to become the flower, we must go through them. Be courageous enough to grow into the flower that you are meant to be. The seed cannot know what is going to happen. The seed has never known the flower, and the seed cannot even believe that he has the potentiality to become a beautiful flower. Long is the journey, and it is always safer not to go on that journey, because unknown is the path. Nothing is guaranteed. Nothing can be guaranteed. 1,001 are the hazards of the journey. Many are the pitfalls, and the seed is secure, hidden inside a hard core. But the seed tries, it makes an effort, it drops the hard shell, which is its security. It starts moving. Immediately the fight starts, the struggle with the soil, with the stone, with the rocks. And the seed was very hard, and the sprout will be very soft, and the dangers will be many. There was no danger for the seed. The seed could have survived for millennia. But for the sprout, many are the dangers. But the sprout starts towards the unknown, towards the sun, towards the source of light, not knowing where, not knowing why. Great is the cross to be carried, but a dream possesses the seed, and the seed moves. The same is the path for man. It is arduous. Much courage will be needed. So many blessings to you all this morning, and I pray that my sharing has been of some use, and if you've missed it, please watch this from the beginning. You might find it helpful today. especially if you are going through some challenges or having a challenging time or feeling very vulnerable and need some encouragement, some courage and some strength to go through the challenges. Much love, many blessings. Om Shanti.